first substring, convert it to an integer, to then grab the second substring, convert it to an integer. That's yet another way. Okay. So it's just, I'm just trying to make it as simple as possible because now my focus is on bidimensional arrays, not on strings. Okay? Okay, so let's do the diagonal, right? Okay, let's do it. Oh, this is what you put, right?
No, the third one I put. Yeah, I was just trying something. So you can just read it.
Arrays. Okay, now you want to win diagonally, right? Here you can do the code all at once, or you can do as we were doing before. You can say if left diagonal with this position, with this piece, or right diagonal with this piece, then return true. Else return false. You understand what I'm doing, right? Again, I'm splitting the problem in sub-pieces, right? And it will be chart B, right? Okay. Here, I can do this, right? Come talk to me after class because you sent me an email and I couldn't reply to you. Okay? Yes, you. Okay? No, the guy at the back. He sent me an email and I couldn't reply, but I don't remember when I see him. Okay. So you want to do left diagonal. So let's analyze a little bit this piece of code. Left diagonal is this one, right? Correct? We have this, right?
Yeah.
All positions are the same, right?
Yeah.
Correct? Starts from 0 and ends in 2. We can do a for loop like this. From 0 all the way to 2 and check I, comma I. Right? Is that clear?
Yeah.
Because I, comma I the first time will be 0, 0. The second time will be 1, 1, and the last time will be 2, 2. Got it? And if every I, comma I is equal to the piece, then we can make a counter. When we finish, the counter is 3, then you won't on that diagonal. Else it isn't. Right? There? Oh, by the way, last class somebody was telling me, Professor, remember we did this here and I changed the A and J? Right? Somebody was telling me, should you put here in rows instead? Yes, it would be more accurate to say in rows because when you go vertically, you go like this, right? Check if you're going in the line, right? It doesn't really matter in fact because both are the same. I'm just trying to be more precise. It's the same thing. Okay, here, all I have to say is if 0 and I, like I told you, is equal to P, then my count should increment, right? Here simple. If my count reaches 3, then it means I go in that direction. Else return false. Got it? Yes.
You said left diagonal, but you have to do one for, I guess you said right thing. Oh, never mind.
Got it?
Yeah, yeah.
I have to copy paste the code and do something similar with right diagonal. There are many ways to do right diagonal. We can do with something as simple as this. Sometimes people get complicated. So I will show you 2 ways and then I'll do the lane way. Okay, because the lane way is easy to do. So what is this coordinate? 0, 2, right? Correct? Right. And then this is 1, 1, and then this is 2, 0. Right? If I want to start here and check all the way here, it can be something like this. Right? Did you get that?
What's that mean?
It can be I, comma 2 minus I. Right. Because the first time is 0, 2 minus 0, 2. Right? The next time is 1, 2 minus 1 is 1, so 1, comma 1. Right? And then the last time is 2, comma 0. 2, 2 minus 0, 2, 0, comma 2. Got it? That's a cool way of doing it. I would just have to replace this instead of the coordinates of II. Got it? No, since this might be complicated for some people, you can start with a post X, for example, and a post Y. Initially, post X can be, what is the position for X? 0, right? And the position for Y is 2, right? And as you iterate, you can increment this guy and decrement this guy. Got it? You increment this guy and you decrement this guy. Is that clear? Because the rows, you're going down, you increment, right? And the columns, you go left, so you decrement. Is that clear? That's easier, I think, right?
Can you show us both ways real quick?
Okay. The first way is just doing this. That's it. Got it? Because that 2 minus I will do it for everybody. Now, some people might tell me, Professor, 2 minus I is not really right, because if I want to change the constants and make the table 4 by 4, it should be 3 minus I. So we can do something like this. And then it will work for any case. But not everybody gets that. Some people are like, what the heck, where are you getting this formula for? I hate math, right? If you don't want to do that, I'm going to do it the simplest way. So you can say, okay, the initial position for X is what? 0, right? Because I'm talking about the one on the very corner, right? Row 0, right? And the initial column for the position is 2, right? So here I will say post X, and here I will say post Y. Got it? Now, every time I iterate, what will I do? You have to go to the second row, right? So post X has to, and the column has to go to the left, has to decrement, right? Got it? Is that clear, guys? Yes? Yes? Yes. Okay, let's play it again. Enter X for X, say 0, 0. Say 2, 0. Say 1, 1. And then 2, 1. Let's say I want to win the diagonal. You need 2, 2, right? X1. Actually, you have to say X1 this game. No, you won't. X1 this game. Right? Just stupid message. Nothing really important. Right? Clear, guys?
Yeah.
You can test the same game horizontal if you want to. You're going to see that it works. Then it got to be like 2, 0. Got it? Easy? Yes? Okay, so this was the game of the tic-tac-toe. How much time did we make it, guys? Today we spent like probably 5 minutes, and last class we spent a whole class, but it was a bunch of explanations. So roughly an hour, right?
Right.
And when you have to make your game is going to be more complex than this, but not too much complex compared to this. So I'm going to give you close to a month to do it. So you must more or less infer how picky I will be when I grade you, right? Because if I do this program in 1 hour, and I give you a similar program for a whole month, then I shouldn't accept any single mistake, right? Sound fair?
Yeah.
Fair enough?
Can I just ask real quick about the II with left diagonal? Left diagonal? Why it has to be minus 2 I? I know 0, 0, 1, 1, 2, 2. You have 2 I's, or you won't look at the I.
You have two components.
He's probably gonna do the battleship. I did it for C++.
But I'm putting the same coordinates on both.
Hopefully.
It's gonna be like
On X and Y, I'm putting the same.
through the network.
So if it's 0, you're looking at position 0, 0, the very corner here.
You're only doing one row, that's it, just a row.
All the rows, 3 rows.
I guess you're confused with I and J.
Check this out. Yeah, anything. I can call it, maybe you can call it XX, and maybe it sounds better for you. This is the thing, look. You want to check here, here, right, everything? Here is 0, 0, here is 1, 1, and here is 2, 2, right? So all I'm doing is all coordinates that I have to check are 0, 0, 1, 1,
Okay.
fine because it's always the same. I can put the same variable. Got it?
Okay, I thought you needed two, you also
Two
need
variables?
J in order to.
They don't have to be the same variable. They don't have to be different variables. All you have to do is put the two components. If I were to do this, that would be wrong because this is the right dimension, right? I want to refer about two. This tells me the row, but it's not telling me the column unless I put something here. Got it?
Oh, okay.
If I put I, then I'm saying column, row I,
Okay.
and column I.
Thank you.
Clear?
Yeah, I never
Clear?
seen it that way. Yeah, it's good.
Okay, good. Is everybody clear? I wish I could do one more program. There is one program that I did before with my other students that was the word puzzle. I'm sure you play this game that has a bunch of letters. Like this. Stuff like that. And they tell you, look for the word say cat. And you say, okay, it's here, right?
Or like crossword.
Well, you call it crossword. It's actually not crossword.
Not a
Word puzzle.
word search. Word
Yeah.
search, yeah. Word search.
You call it word search, you call it word puzzles. Yeah. Pupiletras, whatever you call it.
Or jumble, whatever. Word
Okay? Okay. I could do this game, but I don't think I will have time. Let's try to finish whatever we're missing, and then at the end, if we have time, we go to do this before we get into Java 2. Okay? So I think this exercise is pretty cool. Because sometimes you have to look for words that are formed this way, which are a little hard. And then you have to get in A directions. When you play something like the Minesweeper, and you want to put a number, when there is no bump there, you have to say how many bumps you have around. Isn't that similar? Right? But if you want to do the battleship, and you want to know if to any of the sides you have a ship, right? So all those things are important. This kind of movement is kind of crazy. Okay? It's a little complex. If we have time, we're going to do that. So, officially I have covered until by dimensional arrays. Any questions so far? No? Easy? I think you guys think the class is too easy already, right?
No, it's alright.
Not really?
It's great.
No? It's good so far? Clear? Yeah? Okay. So let's go now into array list. Okay? Okay, so the next thing is array list, and then I told you we're going to teach you static versus instance, right? Then files, exceptions, I have to go fast without. With files exception, probably I'll just show you code, okay? Because I have pre-made code. So, array list, different from arrays. Why? Supposedly, they have unlimited size, right? And again, it's not true. That's why it says supposedly. Behind the scenes, what happens is what you did last class, remember? Every time you get code, you make it twice as big, right? Now, what else? You don't have to specify a size when creating the array list, right? Do you have to specify the type of the array list you're creating? Can I create an array list without a type? What happens if I do? Can I create an array list and add dogs, cats, men, women, strings, integers, like a big bowl of soup? Can I do that? No. Yes? Sure? And then what do I do with that list? How do I get the elements back? The idea of having a collection variable, like an array list or an array, is to store data, but at the same time to retrieve data from it. Right? So, how could I do that? Array list very quick. With array list, you can say add, and you will just add at the end of the list, right? You can say add, and then put a comma and say where you want to add, right? My list. Control Shift I, because it's important, right? Next to my list. one professor, one student told me, "Professor, why don't you put something like, since I was not thinking on what's something that only women have, one student, he was telling me, Professor, why don't we put something like, I don't know, favorite, say, bra color or whatever. And another guy said, no, well, I also have a favorite bra color from my girlfriend. So I guess it's not just, it's really unique. But hopefully, only women have a favorite first color, right? Hopefully you guys don't have a preference for that one, right? So let's say this woman class is just to have some class, okay? I'm not gonna do anything really big deal with this. This is just to have a class there. I'm gonna build similarly a class. Okay? And then we're gonna call it I don't wanna sound chauvinistic, but I don't have anything in mind, so I'll just say favorite, say soccer team. I know some women love soccer too. But just for now, okay? I'm not trying to be sexy, guys. Some women even know more soccer than some guys. Okay, so over here this, right? So, check this out. And I have a woman here. Of course, you can have anything. Say, which name? When I say favorite first color, what's your favorite first color that name? Red, okay. Say mine is, who likes soccer here? Okay. What's your favorite soccer team, guys?
Barcelona.
Barcelona, okay. Okay, what's your name?
Ernesto.
Ernesto. Ernesto says his favorite soccer team is Barcelona. Okay. Let's see, right?
Yep.
Okay. This is just an idea. I'm just going to put a bunch of things here. Let's see another one, say Mario. And let's say his favorite is Madrid. Whatever. Okay? Let me do this for a second, just for a second. Okay. I have created an array list. I will specify the size of it. And I have added 3 objects. Right? Correct? One woman and 2 men. Right? Which one is the element at position 0? Berlin, right? The woman, right? Then position 1, Ernesto, and at position 2, Mario, right? What if I want to insert, what if I do this? So you want to add another woman. So you volunteer for this? Ladies? Anyone? Let me see if I spell your name correctly. Help me. Z, right? Z, A-Y, E-U-S. Like this? Okay. And then say, what's your favorite first color? Black. Classy. Okay. That's good. Okay. So, now I'm adding this woman, for example, and I'm going to say, for example, comma 1, or 1 comma this, I think. My God. Let me see how we add this. There are 2 adds. Okay, first the position and the other. So, what happens when I do this?
It overwrites Ernesto.
So, can you tell me the order? Which one is first? Darlene is first, still Darlene. Then? Then Zadis. Then? Ernesto. And Mario. This is one of the beautiful things from array lists. Array lists are very similar to arrays, but with extra functionality going on behind the scenes. So what happens is when Zadis gets inserted at position 1, because I'm saying to be inserted at position 1, she's shifting Ernesto and Mario. Do we have to worry about the shifting? No, it's automatically done. Will we do that in arrays? If we try to do something like that in arrays, and we want to insert something, we have to manually shift the elements to the next positions. It's more complicated, it's more work. You see what I'm saying? Because otherwise we will lose it, right? If we just put it there, we lose whatever was there, right? We have to move first and then put it there. Got it? Yes? Okay. So, could I have said something like this? Is that right? According to you, that's good?
third
There is no
spot
third
or
spot,
the fourth, you know, because.
It's the index, it's the index.
Oh, okay. Wouldn't it?
How many people say that's correct? How many people say it's wrong? Why is it wrong?
I think because the third index is not there.
Is that so? Quite so, yes.
Why? Start at 0, 1, 2, 3. Do you have 0 also?
So far, before stages gets inserted, let's check whatever is before stages. We have our link on 0, we have Ernesto on 1, and we have Mario on 2. Right? 0, 1, 2. Can we insert position 3? Sure.
I guess, yeah.
Build successful.
You put a position that's not even there.
What about 4?
That'll crash.
What do you say?
Yeah, that's gonna.
If it generates them.
You can fill up position 3 and you get 0.
Controversial, right?
No.
Three is gonna be no.
Ah.
What about?
This is what happens. ArrayList do this. Before stages gets in, there are 3 elements, right? So ArrayList say, I have 0, I have 1, and I have 2. I allow you to insert on 3 because that's the same as saying just add. Right? If you just tell me add, that's the same. I'm going to put it on position 3. If you tell me 3, it's still this value. If you want to tell me 4, that's wrong because you haven't filled out 3 yet. Got it? Is that clear? Similar. Similar. Is that clear, guys? This is wrong. This was just for you to realize this, okay? Now, there is a bunch of things from ArrayList. For example, there is that size. Okay. All of them, women, men, etc., have a name, right? And depending if it's a woman or if it's a man, you have favorite first color if it's a woman, or you have favorite soccer team if it's a man, right? So let's try to access all the elements. I equals 0, I less than. How do I do that? My size, right? And then I plus plus. What if you want to print the name? How can I print the name?
Brackets.
What do you put here?
My list.
My list. Okay. That's good. Huh? I? And then what else? Not what?
Get.
Is there a good name there? Is there a good name there?
No.
Nope.
So, woman. Shall we just try putting the name? Let's see what happens. How can we print the names? We agree that my list.getI gets me the element of position I. We agree on that. Right? We're on the same page. But now you don't print the name. Why?
You're just saying the object.
The woman but also may have a name. Men and women both have a name. The difference is only the color and the soccer team. That's the only thing. Ideas? No? Doesn't really matter. I want to print, regardless of what elements. I mean, this is a list of 4 people, 2 guys and 2 girls. I want to print the names of the 4. Woman don't get name. Then, but you don't have an object there. If you say woman as the name, that doesn't make sense. That sounds like a static method. But okay.
Oh, it's because it's an object.
Okay. Remember I told you at the beginning of ArrayList, guys, when I create an ArrayList, do I have to specify what type of ArrayList it is? And some of you say yes, some of you said no, and then I said, can I create an ArrayList and put a bunch of things in there like a soup? Right? And I show you that I can, right? You create an ArrayList and I'm putting men and women, and it runs, right? The problem is when you create an ArrayList like that, if you don't specify a type, Java says the following. Okay, you're not specifying a type. So I'm going to tell you, I'm going to assume that the ArrayList is an ArrayList of objects, generic objects. So when you say my list, that GetI, what you're retrieving is an object class, right? That's why generic object, a very generic class from Java is called object. So that class doesn't know about get name, doesn't know about get favorite first color, anything, because that was defined in a user-defined class. You understand what I'm saying? So one way of doing it would be casting.
A static trans or?
Static casting, yes. Say for example, woman W equal, and here I would say my list. Here you are. And now W is a woman, right? Now I can say W, he should have the name, the favorite first volume, whatever, right? Got it? So the program should work now perfectly, right guys?
No,
Yes?
Let's see. No,
See?
crash when.
Well, what about man?
Good, right.
Yeah.
So it worked for Darlene, and it worked for Sadie. It grabbed very fast. Why Darlene and Sadie worked fine? Because Sadie was on position 1 and Darlene was on position 0. So those two were first, right? And those two got converted successfully into a woman because they are women, right? But when I tried to convert Ernesto into a woman, he didn't like that. Right? He said, no way, right? Right? No way. So he complained, and Java said, okay, I agree. You are a man. So we're screwed. We cannot make the conversion. This casting is wrong. Because not all my elements are women. If I were 100% sure that all my elements are women, then it's good. But here, I'm screwed because my array contains men and women. It could even have more things. It could have a string, it could have integers, whatever. So, if I know, if somebody tells me that the array list has men and women, and give me the guarantee that there are only men and women, can I still do something? What could I do?
I mean, what I would do is you make like a class person and then.
That's inheritance.
Right.
Don't get to inheritance yet.
If?
We could use inheritance in polymorphism, but we are not there yet. What could we do?
Decisions? Your decisions with an if?
Sorry?
Maybe with an if?
Okay.
Um,
You start at the back?
Can you create another cast in with man, and then call it Y, and then you create another one, you equal both to that one, and then you call it with that letter?
But then you would try to convert women to men. That would be another problem. So let's try to combine his idea with his idea. His idea was, let's try to have some if to break the ambiguity. His idea is to have a casting of class man as well. Let's combine both. Wouldn't it be nice that given an object, we could ask, are you a man? Are you of class man? If so, if he tells me yes, then it is safe for me to do a casting to man. If the person tells me no, then since I only have men and women, I can assume it's a woman, then make the casting to a woman. Right? Is that clear what I'm saying? So that involves asking the object, what class do you belong to? Is that easy? That is easy actually. Is that part of Java 1? No, so I cannot blame you professors for that. I teach that too. I teach that though. Is that part of Java 2? No. Is that part of Java 3 and 4, if there is any? No. The topic is a little advanced, and it's called reflection. Okay? However, I'm going to teach you a little bit of that. Okay? Just for you to be informed of how that works. You're not going to be evaluated on that in the exam, so don't get scared. But that is a very useful tool. Okay? So let's see how we can do it. Yes, sir.
I have a question. If Zadie wasn't at position 1,
Yes.
and you still called it, would he still print out both names?
Good question. If I wouldn't have put 1, that would mean that say this would be the last element. Correct? Then it would have only printed Arlene because it would have crashed on the first man. And then he wouldn't have gone any farther. Yes.
Just asking for the class is called reflection.
Yes.
Alright, but I forgot, but I know you can use generics here too, correct?
If I use generics, then I will have my array list strongly typed. My array list will only be able to hold one type of element, either man or either woman.
Oh, but I thought it was just object and it was just.
If you put generics and you put this thing, this is generics. And you put, for example, woman, array list woman like this, new array list woman like this. We're going to see that soon. Then when you try to say add new man, it's going to crash right there.
Oh, because it's casting. Okay.
Correct. Here I didn't put that generic that you're saying. So it's not anything. Yes.
Use the instance of, or does it?
That's reflection.
Oh,
Reflection. Exactly. Yes.
Professor, you said said that if the one wasn't there, if only print Darlene, you said?
Sorry?
If zeros wasn't equal to one, it would only print Darlene or would it crash?
Yes, that's what I'm talking. If we have it, if we put just like this, let me put it so you guys see it because that's the best way for you to remember. So let's say I don't put one for Sadie, okay? Just like that. So Sadie will be the last element, right? And I run this program, you're only gonna see Darlene. Because as it finds the first man, which is Ernesto, it breaks. It breaks here. The code crashes here. It doesn't go any further. So it doesn't find Sadie's. Got it? The reason why we got Sadie's before is because we put it at position 1. So Sadie's could get analyzed successfully. So let me put one again here just for the fun. So what we're going to do is this. We're going to say this. If my list that derived, if this element is an instance of woman, then it is safe to do this. Right? Correct? Got it? And then we can print this element, right? If you want to, right? Is that clear?
Yeah.
Else? Make something similar. That for A9. I can even print from any favorite football team and whatever, right? Got it? Is that clear? This casting is good enough because before concluding the casting, I'm checking. Right? I'm only doing this casting and converting the object into a woman when I'm sure it's a woman. If it's not a woman, then it should be a man because I only have two types of elements. Then I'll come here and do the casting to a man. So the first time Darlene gets there, Darlene, are you an instance of woman? Yes, she's an instance of woman. So she will be converted into a woman. That's correct because it was a woman. And just print it out the name. Then we go to Ernesto. Are you an instance of woman? No, you're not. You come here and you make the cast into a man, which is correct. The object is a man object. And then you print his name. Got it? No, our program doesn't crash. Clear? That is not going to come in your exam though, okay? That is not part of Java 1, not part of Java 2. This is just extra knowledge. Let's move on. Let me create a second main. I told you that I can have more than one main, remember? I'm going to create another main and show you just one type of array list, okay? Our friend at the back was talking about the word generics. This is what he meant. No, it's not that. I create a simple class. Okay. This is what he means by generic. Here I will put one type of data, say woman. And say women. For example. Right? A group of women, right? So here, when I do this, this is a strongly typed array list producing generics. So now you're saying your array list is only of women. You cannot insert any other element that is not a woman. Got it? So now I can do this. For example, sorority, that, and I can add a woman. let's say we want to try to add Ernesto. Ernesto wants to get into the sorority for some good reasons, right? And I don't blame you, man. So, I'll put Ernesto here, for example. In Barcelona, right? Let's see. You see? Java says, what are you trying to do there, man? You found a man, and he was expected to have a woman there. Got it? Why do we have this problem now? Because when we create the array list, we clearly said that we wanted women only. Is that clear?
Yes.
Yes? Yes?
Can you call woman or man?
If you use inheritance, you can do that. So far, no. Okay? So let me add another woman just to have elements. Instead of being we can do it, right? Okay. I can have like that, as many women as I want, right? Now, how do I print all favorite colors for women? Because I'm working, same thing as before, right? Do I have to do casting now, guys?
No.
Why not?
Because
Because it's only of women, so it's understood that it's only for women. I don't need to do any casting. I can directly say this, that, and it will tell me the methods from women. You see? Because it knows that all elements have women. For example, my bad, shift F6, or right click, run down. Just print the colors, black and red. Got it? Yes?
Yes.
What about another way of using for array list? There is something called the for each loop. Do you remember that? For each loop. So instead of doing it this way, there is another way of doing it. How many of you have taken databases or are taking databases now? Some of you? You have taken databases before? Do you remember the concept of cursors?
I vaguely remember for each as well.
Okay. The for each loop looks like this. That's the same job as the one that I commented above, okay? So let's say we're going to print a favorite colors. It works like this. Here, you put, let me write it here so it works easier. So, let me erase it. Can you see this part? Yes?
Yeah.
I will put it like this. My array list could have many elements. You know that, right? Correct? So far I have an object here for ladies. And I have another object here for the link. Right? Correct? This is a position 0, 1, and you know the rest. Right? I could use the get I, like the for loop that is commanded there and access each element. You know that. Correct? But there is something called the for each loop. The for each loop works like this. It uses the concept of cursors. Like reading, like when you read, your cursor is blinking. You read something and the cursor moves to the next line, right? So Java works like this. The for each loop works like this. You write for, open and close, put a column here. On this side you put where are you reading from? You're reading from the array list, right? Correct? What is the array list called? Sorority, right? So here you write the name of your array list. And here you're going to put which object are you going to use to read the array list. And it is not hard to guess. The array list is of type women, right?
Yeah.
So shouldn't you need a woman to read this?
Yeah.
Right? So you will write here woman, whatever name you want to give to your object, say W, like that. Got it? The way it works is W is going to read each of these values. The first time W is going to be say this. Then W is going to be their link, and so on and so forth. So all you have to write is system of print line W that get, for example, favorite first column. Got it? Because W the first time is say this, second time W is their link. You don't need counters. Is that clear? Which one is better? It all depends. If you just want to print values, then this is better. If you are if you need the indexes at any point, then the other one is better because you're using the index. You have a counter there. I. Got it? Is that clear? But both do the same job. So let's do it. They will do the same job. Got it? It is clear, guys? Easy? Yes? What if you want to create an array list of numbers, of integers? How do we write that? Array list what? Int? Is this good? Is this good, guys? It's not that I can use this, that I must use. Why is that wrong, guys? I want to create an array list of integers. What's the problem with that?
Integers, well, no,
Primitive.
Okay, this is the thing. Array lists can only be a collection of objects.
Object.
Arrays, that's a big difference too. Arrays can be a collection of objects or primitives, right? You can have an array of int, right? You write int in these guys, the brackets, and then you have an array of ints, right?
Oh.
Of primitives, right? But in array list, you cannot have an array list of primitives. Your array list must be of objects all the time. That's why you cannot write int. Now, if you remember, your professor used to show you code like this.
Right.
Remember?
Yeah.
And then Java didn't complain anymore. Right? And then you could add as many numbers as you wanted. You could do this. You could say add 7. Right? Okay. Why does integer work? There is this concept called wrapper classes. Remember that? Maybe you learned that in Java 1. So it is called wrapper. Like when you wrap something like a gift. Okay? Wrapper classes. So for an int, that is a primitive, we have a wrapper that is integer. How do we know that this is a class and this is a primitive? Simple. Classes have methods, right? What is a method from the class integer? Parse int. Remember when we said integer that parse int to convert a string into a number? So this guy provides a method. So this guy is a class. Got it? And it's normally all in uppercase. Double is with lowercase d, double with uppercase d is the wrapper class. Same with float, right? What about string? A string is already a class. That's why it has methods like length and all that. Substring, charad, remember?
Yep.
Is it clear, guys? Now, the integer class is a wrapper class for the primitive int, and the integer class is very simple. It's just a simple class, has these methods such as parse int, and has one attribute that is a primitive int. That's why it's like it wraps. Inside it's just an int, plus some method, right? But just one attribute, int, and that's it. That's why it's wrapping. Is that clear?
Yep.
Yes? This class integer most likely looks like this. Class integer, most likely it looks like this. And it has a private int. Got it? Just one int inside. Correct? And then it has another method called public int, returns an integer, parse int, for example, that receives a string. Receives a string and converts it into an int. That's what the parse int does, right? Got it? Clear?
Yeah.
This is a trick here. We're gonna see that soon. Static. Soon we're gonna see that. But so far so good?
Mhm.
Yes?
Yep.
Now, Professor, so how can I say add 7 and it works perfectly? I don't have to say new or something. Let's see. The right way to add a number should be like this, right? Correct? Or do something like this, right? These 3 lines seem perfect, right? That's the way you should add integers, right?
Yeah.
Add an object, right? Because an integer is also an object, right? Correct? Is that clear?
Uh-huh.
But how does this work? Even more, just a primitive y equal 10. How do the last 3 lines work? They shouldn't be allowed, right? You understand what I'm saying? If I just told you that the array list only allows objects, then only these 3 lines here should be valid. Right? Because I'm indeed adding an object integer. I'm saying new integer, right? On the second line, I'm creating an object integer and then adding that object, x, right? So those 3 lines seem to be complying with the rule. Array list only allow objects. Is that clear?
Yeah.
But the last 3 lines are adding a constant number, just a number, a fixed number. Then the second line is creating a primitive y and adding a primitive y. Why is that possible?
Because it's only accepting ints, and the integer class only accepts ints, and so
There
it's
is some
just
sort of conversion, there is some sort of trade-off, yes.
Then they call it boxing or auto boxing.
What happens is something similar to that. What happens is Java says, okay, you're creating an array list of integers. Since it's so simple and it's just a wrapper class, if you pass a primitive, Java is going to wrap it before inserting it. So at the end of the day, it looks like you're inserting 7 directly, right? Seems like you're inserting y directly, right? But that's not true. Behind the scenes, before inserting y as a primitive, Java is converting the y into an integer. And behind the scenes is saying new integer y and creating an object out of that primitive. Got it?
Yeah.
It only does that for you with wrapper classes. With your own classes, Java will not do that because it doesn't know how your class looks like. Got it?
Yeah.
Only with wrapper classes, Java will do that favor to you. Is that clear?
Yeah.
Yes? They're giving you a break. Shouldn't allow you though. I don't like that way of working because it's a little confusing for people at the beginning. Yes?
Can you create your own wrapper class?
Can you create your own wrapper class? No, wrapper class is only for primitives. You can create your own classes, but it's what you have to specify now for this class. Is that clear, guys?
Yeah.
Yes?
Yeah.
Okay, what else? I guess I'm
What if you want to put another number in place of where integer 8 is? How would you do that?
like a position 0?
Where 8 is, how could you put another number there? Let's say instead of the 8, I want to have a number 5.
What do you mean? I don't know.
Well, where it says where integer 8 is, it's in a certain spot in the array list, right? That's already created.
The array list was created 1 line above, so 8 should be on position 0 there.
And can you insert a 5 in position 0?